thousand. So just let them just be paid as the CBA. So this issue of the delaying by the court and everything is just to create some loopholes. And you see, once we accept anything less than the 200 that, or what is in the CBA, we'll have already thrown the CBA away. So the most important thing that we are going for in this strike is to implementation of the CBA. And now in the implementation of the CBA, the first thing is the posting of the interns. So because if you go with the posting of the interns as the main thing, and then we are posted, and you're posted with 70,000, you have already been sorted. So what next? So the point is, they need to post the doctors, the interns, and if they're posting the interns, they should post them as per the CBA, whether it's the CBA that is for the doctors, whether it's the CBA by the nurses or the clinical officers. Because you are all aware, when we are striking as the union, there's the clinical officers, some of them, the diploma, had a bit of their salary was raised in a way from the new circular that was passed. And these people have been posted, and 4 months down the line, they have never been paid. And in fact, they have not only been paid, but they do not even have a pay slip. So someone is working in a hospital facility, is doing calls, and because these other interns have already left, so there are very few, and they are operating the hospitals. They are the one who are managing the hospital, but they have not received salary for 4 good months. You see this how this government is lying to them. So you just don't go and pick letters because of anything. So you have to pick a letter which is observing the CBS. So to Kenda uko MOH, you cry for your posting, but make sure when you are advocating for that, it is supposed to be posted according to the CBA. Tusikubali anything less than that, and that's why the union has to come in. So the union will be there. We'll also be listening to what the people will have to say, and the interns, because I know these meetings has been there. There have been discussion by the chief of staff of the MOH and the minister for health and the SRC. So when you are going there for the posting, the important thing is the posting, and the posting has to be as per the CBA. For the other cadres like the nurses and the doctors, come there, support us. You see, it's an opportune time because this is the time when the Gen Zs have really shown us that we can make things happen without
But
leaders.
I need you to
We can
land.
make things happen. Yes. Okay.
Land in a minute so that I give people a chance
Okay.
so
Okay.
that we.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. So when we will be going there as the nurses and even the clinical officers, also bring up your issues, and let the issues be so clear, so that when they are posting when they are posting us, they'll be posting us as per what we want. Let these people not post us, and down 4 months down the line, 6 months down the line, there's no payment. In fact, I've been overhearing the clinical officer who are already posted. They're organizing for a strike or something like that, a protest, because now there are so many issues going on. So basically, we are going on Monday for occupying MOH, and you are voting for the posting of the doctors and the nurses and the other cadres interns. So let it be according to the CBA, and let the Minister of Health not bring create any loopholes, so that they can avoid this. And then we were posted, and then 4 months down we realize that tulichezwa. So that is all I have for my guys. Tukuje sisi wote, let's appear all of us there. When you are many, we are a team and we are a unity. Thank you so much, Wanyama, for this space. Thank you.
Asante sana. I'll go to Hudson and then Salim, then Mao. Hudson.
Yeah, yeah. Thanks, Ali Nur. So, MOH is a frustrating ministry. Personally, I completed my internship in January. So the group of Japlado are the one who are exiting now. So it's of urgency that MOH posts the interns so that they start the internship. Because the shortage in our level 5, level 6 is worrying. Last year, there was a budget that was allocated for the interns. Some of us, that's 2022. We were posted 2022, but there was no budget. We were forced to wait until January last year so that we can be posted. So MOH has been playing games with the internship issue. It's on record several times that most of the clinic officers, the MOI, and even the the pharmacists, they have been. Someone has said here that the medics go for about 6 months, without salary. So it's good that we demand that there is a pure allocation of the money for the interns. Now, there was an issue that was raised on why nurses are not initiating the strikes. It's only the officials from KMPDU. The reason is Seth Panyako has been in bed with the Ministry of Health. We only see the circulars, from the union. I don't know whether it's KNUN. I don't know whether it's KNUNM. They have just changed their title recently. Those guys are not working. They only take tea in office. There has never been any effort from KNUN to mobilize nurses to fight for their rights. I always say KNUN is a useless union because they never champion for the rights of nurses. It's for example, we only wait. It's true. We wait when KMPDU has called for a strike like this one, is when the nurses join in. In real sense, we have never initiated our own strike. The reason being, the orders are coming from KNUN. They are only being told, wait, we are sorting out, another circular comes. They only just issue ultimatums. I've never seen Seth Panyako campaigning. He skips press conferences that are meant to champion for the rights of nurses. From this end, internship is important in that after internship, as nurses, we are required to visit the Nursing Council of Kenya with the approval of completion of internship so that we get the license. Now, minus internship, it will be very difficult for all nurses, and that one poses another limitation. You cannot go abroad. The jobs that they are saying they are in Saudi Arabia for nurses, NCLEX, IELTS, OET, those ones you can't do if you don't have a license. So it's important that the strike for Monday takes place. We hold into account the CS Nahumicha, so that everyone gets posted. I think, as earlier speakers had said, the budget, the financial bill 2024 had 3.7 billion for posting interns. We understand that KMPD officials, Davji Atela and the group were at State House. They talked about the issues of
finalize Hudson.
Yeah, thanks. They talked about the issues of KMPDU. I would like to know what were the agreements and what's the progress. Then from there, we can know how far it went. I'm sure 100% that the ministry is aware that it's supposed to post interns. Otherwise, let's say occupy MOH on Monday. Thanks.
Asante sana for that. Salim, dakika tatu.
Thank you so much. You guys can hear me?
Loud and clear.
So I'm Salim, co-founder Medics for Kenya. So first of all, we are occupying MOH on Monday, so that is very clear. So this is first I want to explain to the pre-interns, because we had a lot of heat. I was receiving calls yesterday and the day before on why we are doing the pads for Kenya thing. First of all, the Occupy MOH currently right now, it's not going to just be doctors, but it's also going to be the public. And the reason being, they saw what we did for them and they're returning the favor. They're like, we need to support our doctors, nurses, clinical officers, and labs, all cadres. So we did that initiative to show also that the Ministry of Health is not doing anything about the reproductive health, because we know 6.5 out of 10 girls do not have access to pads. So that will bring a statement to the to the government and the Ministry of Health that the general public is actually coming to MOH with pads, to collect pads, to give them to young girls in affected areas. So that was one of the main reasons. So we thought about that as an idea to catalyze people to also come to the Occupy MOH. Of young doctors in all unions. So what we did, grievances to the Ministry of Health. We know that when they call for a discussion on the table, they will definitely have to call the unions on board. So we pushed Ms. Keller and Davji to show that they're in solidarity. We know that they are also part of the problem. So we wanted Occupy MOH to be as legal as it can be in terms of KMPDU offering security, asking for security through the police, and also to make a statement that they are in for it. We did not want them to take over it. We just wanted for legal purposes. But the main objective, medics are going to issue their grievances to MOH. I contacted Kuso and I've contacted Nan via email for them to tell us what is their stand on this, but I've not received any information. So mine was just to explain to the medics from the Medics for Kenya side, because we actually want to form this as an organization. I actually, the first day we met with the Miskela and Davji, I told them, you guys have never been checked by medics. You work unchecked. We need a third party organization, because we know KMPDU, sorry to say, if they're here, they're in bed with the government, the decision making table. And we share what they were scared about is Medics for Kenya has been able to unite all 7 cadres of medics. And for them, that is very, very scary, because if we decide, oh, Medics for Kenya has said it's in support of nurses' strike, all cadres will show up. If Medics for Kenya is in support with clinical officer strike, all cadres will show up. And that is what we want to do. So from Medics for Kenya side, we are in support of Occupy MOH. I will personally leave. I'll be on night shift on Sunday, leaving at 8 a.m. and I'll definitely be there. We want this to be as peaceful as possible, as Japrado said. We want it to just be the way we usually do when we go to Occupy MOH. And I hope that they will listen to us this time. But just know Medics for Kenya is in total support. So thank you.
Asante sana, and thanks for keeping time. I'm going to let's listen to Maude before we wind up. Maude.
Yeah, asante sana. I'll try and keep it brief. I hope you can hear me.
I can hear you.
So let me proceed. I'll talk about policy. Why we are supporting the medics, I'm not a medic. Why we are supporting the medics is because this is the first step in changing the policy structure in Kenya. Because right now you can see everyone is complaining that Davji and KMPDU guys are in bed with parliament. That is because we are under the mercy of the politicians. They say exactly what we do. So what we are proposing is KMPDU adopts a rotational leadership model. This works in such a way that the members of KMPDU divide themselves into 5 or so groups with all age groups covered there. And then they take over the leadership of KMPDU in 2-year terms. This means there is no elections and no interference from politicians. So if Group A is going to represent medics, it goes there as an apolitical body. You cannot compromise Group A because Group B to E are watching. And that is the only way that we will be able to counter what is her name, Nakumincha and friends do to the leadership. And this, why we are saying this for KMPD is because it is the easiest and most visible body in Kenya. The other professional bodies, the engineers, the architects, the surveyors, the quantity surveyors, they're all those people who want to adopt this model, but they can't because they have already been compromised by government. So KMPDU is the first and leading body that can be a pace setter for this model. The second thing I want to say is, as you occupy MOH, let's not just look at the key issues of interns being posted and all that, because it is important. We agree it is very, very important that the interns get posted according to the terms that were agreed on the CBA. But let us also fight for other key issues, such as rejecting SHIF, because there's no way we are going to a more complex SHIF without modifying the current NHIF, automating it, and making it efficient. There's no way we are going there without Linda Mama. It doesn't make sense. Where is Linda Mama? And where is the forensic audit of what has been stolen from NHIF as we speak? So yes, let us also look at other issues. Another key issue we need to look at, you can be paid, yes, as interns, but what about your working conditions? And what about your working hours? If you're given 200K and you're working in deplorable conditions and for extremely inhuman hours, what is the point then? Let us also look at working conditions and working hours. How are they going to be split? Then the other thing I wanted to say was that let us also look at this on a larger scale, because there was a person saying that the ratio of medics to Kenyans is very low and there's no need for us to export them, which is very true. And I 100% support that. But then again, look at also healthcare versus medical care. We are looking at these things from a medic point of view. Why are we not looking at it as from a healthcare point of view? Like, what are the other policies that support this healthcare? Someone has correctly spoken about pads. Yes, what is the, let us also link this to the eco levy that is affecting pads. It is affecting diapers. It is also linked to the food security, because if kids are not being fed in school and they're malnourished, then they are not healthy. So then again, it's also linked to that. Then it's also linked to housing. If you're living in an unhealthy environment and 60% of you are in slums and you're living on top of sewage, there's no way you'll get healthy. So yes, doctors, we support you. We are fully behind you. And when we require your support, we'll come for it. Please support us also. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Mao. Policy is quite something as well, and thanks for always looking deep into it. Dakika tatu to keep to Ella. Ella has been here for some time. Alinur, had you spoken?
No, I hadn't spoken. Hi,
Okay, go
Wanyama.
ahead. Hi, how are you? Go ahead.
Good, thank you. Yeah, I'm not a medic, but I fully support your cause because your cause is connected to the general Kenyan cause. If we are not employing doctors and we are not abiding by the CBAs that we put out, then you can be sure nothing else is being done to any space in Kenya. You're dealing with an irretrievably corrupt GOK. That's something that you need to put at the back of your minds. And you're also going against someone that is that's coming from wounded from a war. So they're going to try and clamp down hard on you. So you need the public to move with you as you go to this, as you go to occupy MOH. Keep your message simple. Do not even talk CBAs. Don't talk what. I need you to connect the failure to post interns to the collapsed public health system. And right now, everybody is feeling the weight of the collapsed public health system. You need to connect those things. And another thing that I want you medics to look at, I've worked in county government before, and I know how some of these things work. There's a big corruption problem in the county governments. You have people that came from the defunct local authorities, and even other people that were employed, who some junior nurse. So they're there's things they do in the system. It's about the well-being. This government has completely collapsed health and education. The only two things that give anybody in this world a sense of some footing to begin, this government has completely collapsed them. So please keep your message simple. Let it connect with the struggles of everyday people. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ella. We'll go to Ali Nur before I accept a few others before we end the space. Ali Nur, go ahead. Ali Nur Abdullahi.
I spoke before,
Eh,
but
It's
and
okay. You
like
can
the way
finalize
Ella,
and then I go to the next person just in a minute before I give the your space to another person.
should I continue?
Go ahead, Ali Nur.
And we need to Ella, when you say like we should be posted, we should stop talking about CBA. You need to understand that CBA, it's very sacrosanct to us, because as medic, what the CBA stipulates is we are being paid how the mode or the way we are being paid from the service we offer. Like we have risk allowance since we are dealing in a contagious and infectious environment. There is also something called an emergency allowance. Since when you are intern, there is nothing like being called. You might be called at the mid of the midnight. Anytime you might be called. So that's why they have a call allowance inside there. That's why the union is imewamilia, like you need to give us the CBA, because the CBA, it was a court order and it has been existing before. And on the MOH, maybe a change of leadership is the best, but from the current leaders we have, I don't see anything sensible coming from them.
Yeah, hayo maneno, it's okay. Thanks so much, Ali Nur. And it's good that this space is open-minded, so we'll keep it moving so that everyone airs their view before we close the space. For anyone joining, I had just put this space so that we understand. We initially heard from Japrado and Mbiti, and the reason is I wanted us to clear on why are doctors, I mean, medics going to the streets as from tomorrow. And it has appeared that there are factions in the health industry in Kenya, but that should not deter them. Personally, I don't subscribe to the idea of someone should be mad that someone else is earning something. As much as the job that they do matches what they do, we shouldn't have a problem with it. The issue should be, where are we headed as a unit, as the healthcare? I'm not in healthcare. That's why I'm a bit silent on this space. So, yes, medics, you have issues, nurses on seniority, on CEOs, on the interns, doctors, etc., etc. But it shouldn't. The enemy is the same, and the enemy is all of you are being undermined at some one point or another. If someone has taken a lead, I think you should support them, and they will also support you at some point. But that's my two pence on it. We are going to Gerald. Gerald 5. Let me drop as Gerald. Okay, BSc, Sammy, go ahead and speak.
Okay, thank you. I hope you can get me clear.
Loud and clear.
Thank you. So my point of view is that we should change tactics in the Occupy MOH. I'm a nurse by profession, affected by this internship policy and things. So while occupying the MOH on Monday, we need good team. That is good team on the technical, on the IT, such that the same way the Gen Z maandamanos were infiltrated by goons and it turned chaotic. We need good people there, such that as we are fighting on the ground that is Occupy MOH, we also have people working down to expose these corrupt deeds in the government. For example, I've done some few calculations here in the MPs sitting allowance. Roughly, let's say they get the 7,500 per sitting, and we have roughly 350 MPs. We get 2.6 million per sitting. Then per week, let's say they sit 3 times, that is 7.8 million. Per month, we get 31.5 million. Per year, that is 315 billion. So that money can be diverted to somewhere else and bring change. The same way in MOH, we have such money that is being, we can't account for anything good that is coming out of it. So we need such to expose such areas. And again, on the issue of health committee, we can have like a joint health committee that caters for all the medics instead of having single union such that others may feel undermined. And again, if you look at the case of the Finance Bill 2023-2024, when they wanted the 2024-2025 Finance Bill, it was dropped and they went back to the 2023-2024. So the SRC circular that was proposed with the salary cuts, it was stayed by the court. So why don't they post and pay according to the existing CBS and the schemes of service? And again, as I conclude, the Nursing Council is also failing patients and Kenyans at large. We have limited nurses in the hospitals, and again, recently there are some revisions they are doing to patient ratio. They want to increase further the patient ratio, some from 1:5 to 1:6. What is that? So it means they are not ready to employ more nurses. So as we tackle this Occupy MOH, let's think big. That is all.
Thanks a lot. Let's wind it up. Who was next? Kipkemoi. Doctari 254. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, in 3 minutes.
Okay. So number one, I'd like to share my sentiments and to laud the Medics for Kenya team for what they did during the Gen Z movement action. It was very commendable. Number two, I'd like to echo the sentiments of the other speakers around the formation of a healthcare service committee and a compound body or union that checks our unions and make sure that they are there for the plight of individuals. One of the things that pains me the most is the fact that I think, like for the last 5 to 6 years, every year we go to the streets to demonstrate either for pay, for fees, for postgraduate studies, and this affects all cadres. So personally, I've been in the streets more than 8, 9, 10 times within the health space and trying to address issues that affect us. So I think it's high time that now this time we make a final statement and stamp our ground and address our issues pertinently and to the unions. I think it's a government act to try and make and create this fight between ourselves and the unions. I am sure the unions have our interests at heart. It's not like they are there for themselves. And what the government does is they put us in a situation where we are fighting our union members in a view that they are benefiting from the government. But having sat on tables of discussion, I'd like to refute that fact. And these people are put on the spot over nothing. So most of the time, I think we have to support them and push them. I'm not saying that we have to lick their asses or something. No, what I'm trying to say is support them and listen to them, and also make sure that they do what we're sending them to do there. And finally, I think it's high time that we put our differences aside as the healthcare professionals in different cadres, and make sure that we are there for our people, because it's a common phrase that we are always one sickness away from abject poverty, and that doesn't spare you as a doctor, as a CEO, as a nurse, as a lab tech. You are just one single diagnosis can change your life, and you realize that is when you realize that how deplorable our healthcare system is. And finally, about this issue of leaving the country, if you look at what it takes for you to leave the country and the finances and the funds required, even considering this new proposal that is very uncouth by SRC, how long it will take you to save and to do the exams and leave the country. We are not here to leave our country. We are born here and we'll make the difference here. So to all the teams out there, let's stand and on Monday, let's move and march and make our word be heard out there.
Santi Kipkemoi, Harrison.
Hello, thank you, Wanyama. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, we can loud and
Thank
clear.
you. I think it's quite of a nice coincidence that the previous speaker, Elvis, he served as my chairman and I served as the Secretary General when we were both students. And the struggles we fought for those years back, I see the struggle that we currently fight for even as we have finished our internship, and just shows you the chronicity of the problems that the interns are currently facing and even the young healthcare professionals. Now, mine is very brief. The first thing is on the JSS teachers. The president shown a green light for them, and I think it will be really important to borrow a leave from how they handled their approach. And I think one of the issues you can note from them is that in as much as there was the corporate and the NAT, they really handled their issues themselves. And at some point, we had their leaders being approached by NAT and corporate officials wanting to get into the game, but for them, they handled it no union, just them, and they went to the streets. And I think, in as much as the union plays a very important role, so at the end of the day, we also have our own roles, as Oluga says in Article 41, that we can also go to the streets. We don't really need to depend on the union so much. They can help, but the responsibility still lies with us. We can go and negotiate on our own. The second thing about the JSS teachers is they found a way to connect with the local mwananchi. For them, it was a bit easy because we had parents being worried about the JSS students not going back to school. So you see, for the government, how the political goodwill works is if something is going to affect a bigger majority of the populace and the opinion of the populace about the government's effectiveness, then the government will act upon it. So in this case, if students are going to stay at home, then the government will be inclinated. So at any given point in time, the government was going to solve this. I think that's something you can always work on in terms of how do we make our struggle be more associated with the population, so the population actually feels what we are saying, and also they get behind us, because the moment we have that, it's easier for the government to also have the political goodwill to come and solve the problem. Lastly is on the on how to approach the ministry. During my student years when I was student leader, and one of the hardest thing was when you approach the ministry, the first time you'll go to strike, second time was a strike, and then the third time you're going, the union will come in, and then the union will take over the negotiations, and then the meetings will transform into now union and then a rep for the students. And then again, it's now union and the ministry alone. And I think it's really, really important to also watch out against that this time, so that in as much as we're advocating for that, we know the unions play an important role. But at the end of the day, even as the union comes in, let's also ask the interns and the students and those young healthcare professionals still be on the table in any given conversations, not conversations of the union taking over after the interns have done the large part of the work of getting the attention. Yeah, thank you. I think that's all. I don't think I have anything else to add. Thank you.
Asante sana. I love the things that are being said on this space, and some of them are going to seem to be like jargons, but let's keep the conversation going, and we'll just get people who are a bit deep into the medic profession and conversant with the problem. I see a lot of comments. People are saying UHC, no need to get another union to watch over another union. Today and in the near future, I'll just be holding spaces not to invite certain speakers, but open mic spaces. In the sense of these are spaces for the people. Come here, speak your thought. Ukikuwa ni point yenye si ya maana, the people will tell you. If it's a point ya maana, they will also tell you you've spoken wisely. Daktari ya wanawake, you are next.
Okay, thank you very much for this space. I'm Dr. Miskela. I'm the deputy SG for KMPDU, and we just finished our strike, I think around 60 days ago. And I'm glad that as young people, we are finally talking about what ails our healthcare. I know that right now the main thing, like for the doctors, is around the posting of interns, and that is what has been our driving force for the Monday Occupy MOH. I'm equally aware that the clinical officers are almost hitting the 100 on strike, same with the laboratory officers, and their issues largely have not been addressed either. And I'd like to start from where BSN talks about that. Sometimes you get this cancel culture and the attacks on the union officials. Personally, and in KPD with W, we have really bear the brunt of the insults and all that, and it's okay. But people and Kenyans must understand who the real enemy is. The real enemy of not just healthcare workers, the real enemy of not just the doctors, is an enemy of all Kenyans, is people who have intentionally and structurally collapsed the public healthcare system for only one reason, for the reason that they want to profiteer off a social function of government. Right now, there was a research I was reading that 56% of Kenyans get their healthcare, probably right now is probably 60 or higher, in private hospitals. And it's not that it's private hospital of the Aga Khan and the hospitals of this country. It's what we call private for poor. Those clinics you see in the estates, which is owned by a nurse, she's a doctor, she's the accountant, she's a chef, she's the nurse, she's everything. You see so many of them in the estate. I've worked in Kenyatta Hospital, and some of the worst cases I used to get in the labor ward as referrals were from those private for poor. That's the only thing that they have different from some of these public hospitals, that they have maybe a better diet, or maybe you have a small TV in your room. And these private for poor have destroyed more lives and killed more. And because somebody has structurally chosen to underfund, to defund public healthcare system. And as we see all these Kenyans keep on keeping quiet, and anytime I get a chance to speak to the public, whether in a wedding or a funeral, is that you have to speak up when public functions of government are being privatized. Right now, there's an intentional plan by World Bank, IMF, to privatize healthcare. Not world over, from India, and Kenya is one of the leading pilot centers. But what do? We keep quiet. Look at what we did with education. We collapsed and underfunded all the public schools. Now, right now, if you want a chance to get a better chance in life, you have to take them to a private school. Look at the water taps. They all run dry or have dirty water. If you want to drink water, you have to buy a dispenser and you have to buy water here to pay taxes. Look at the play areas. After they grabbed all the play areas, what do? Now you have to go to these malls and pay for your children to play. We cannot allow that. Now healthcare is now here. They are defunding it so that you can go to private. Look at the security. You have to hire a private guard. Every single function of government where we pay our taxes to is not functioning. And that's why people are even mad about the financial bill. I was watching a documentary about in Denmark where they're being taxed almost 40% plus. But after that, everything is sorted. You lose your job, you are given an unemployment stipend. So my plea is that, yes, it's good for somebody to come and tell you that they've built a beautiful road. But if you have a beautiful road with non-functioning hospitals, you will use that road to carry your dead. That's the fact of the matter. If I see people when schools perform poorly, they go carry twigs and chase away the teachers. But I'm like, a child who fails can repeat. How come you never carry the same twigs when your relatives die from preventable causes in the hospitals? When drugs are not working, all theater is not working, why can't you carry the same twigs? And ask your MCA, ask your governor, why did this woman die? And because there was no oxygen in the hospital. You keep on saying, oh, when you die, you've gone to God. God cannot be letting 5-year-olds die from diarrhea, and in Japan, they get 100 years. No, that's not the God we serve. So my plea is that I hope and dream that come Monday, more than anything, we have to speak up. Look at is forced down the throats of Kenyans. KMPDU makes noise. We went to court. We were just on our own. When we say employ more doctors, more nurses, more CEOs, it's not because we want jobs for our people. Yes, we want jobs for our members. But every time you go to the hospital and you find one doctor, you go, you You go to Kenyatta Hospital. You go to Kenyatta Hospital and you have to stay the whole day to be seen because there's one or two doctors. Then you're being told, no, the doctors don't come to work. They're lying to you. There are no doctors. The ratio of patients, doctors, is 1 to 17,000. So that today, in the morning, there's a woman who was woken up from Kawangware. Maybe she does a Mafua job in Kilimani. And the child had fever the whole night. She asked herself that, do I take this child to Kenyatta where if I go, I'll stay the whole day? Or do I go and fua nguo nipate chakula ya watoto? Akienda Kenyatta, the kids will starve. Akienda kazi, this one will die. Those are the choices women of this country are faced with every single day. Then somebody decides to devolve healthcare. Then every time you try to tell them that the evolution of healthcare is not working, they blackmail you. The governors are blackmailing the president of the same thing. Yet there's nothing I can tell you for free that the governors in the counties are doing nothing. They simply mop up the monies in the hospitals and take the MCs for trips. They mop the hospitals money. How can you have a hospital not having gloves, cotton? Yet Linda Mama or NHF is refunding for the deliveries. Where is the money going to? So my plea as I finish is that it is high time we put healthcare at the top of our priorities. Trust me, you can be a middle class. I'm a middle class, I won't lie to you. But the one thing that has set me back each and every time I try to save, to invest, is my mother falling sick, my father falling sick. And some of you who are firstborns know how poverty can creep up on you on a single day with a loved one falling sick. Our public hospitals must work. I heard the president yesterday saying how the shift is going to change, the malarias will be treated the same thing. It's okay. If you want shift to help Kenyans, then make public hospitals work. Shift will not work in private hospitals because they will not accept to be paid 100 shillings to treat malaria. The public healthcare system in Kenya must work, and I beg and I plead with all Kenyans that beyond everything else, you have no second chance at life. If you break a leg and you don't get it fixed on time, that leg will not grow again after it's been amputated. When you lose a child, that child is gone forever. So I challenge each and every one of us, if not for everything, if not for anything, let us do it for ourselves. You are being told, I heard the other day the PS of health was saying how they are now exporting nurses to the UK. And I was like, what nonsense is this, my friends? The hospitals in UK are not coming for fresh graduates. If there was a bus at the KMTC grounds where you graduate and you take a bus to Leicester or Manchester, I would say, yes, you're helping us. But those hospitals in the UK are taking the best of the best. Renal nurses, cancer nurses, ICU nurses, those are the ones they're taking. The same happened in Togo and Ghana, and the guys lost all their best of nurses and doctors. We must refuse this thing of taking our best to Europe. Then back at home, we have nothing left for us. Thank you very much, and see you guys on Monday. We must occupy MOH and fix the public healthcare system in this country.
Monday ni kesho daktari, sema see you tomorrow.
See you
Sasa
tomorrow. Monday is my birthday. I was born on Sabasaba Day.
sawa. Happy birthday in advance. Academia, you've been waiting. Go ahead.
Thank you. I support the doctors. There is two sectors in every economy. If you allow them to go down the slippery slope, then you interfere with the ecosystem or the existence of that economy. One is education sector, and the second one is health, because you cannot fail to face the two. You will either go to school, at some point in life you fall sick, and then you go to, I don't want to, when I'm sick, I go to hospital, I don't get good health care. But my question to doctors, I'm not a medic, but I'm a victim of the same, because I do fall sick and then I need doctor's attention. So is it possible for Doctors Union, KMPDU, to look or seek an establishment of a constitutional body to handle national healthcare workforce, so that we don't have this forth and back battle with the government every time and all that? And if indeed the health is a devolved function, what is those billions still doing at the AFIA house? That is the question that you doctors need to ask themselves. Are the negotiations of this kind of activities, or the CBA that of 2017 and all this, were they done in the interest of doctors, or it was a negotiation between the officials of the people managing doctors and the government, and therefore Raia, other doctors, are not aware of what the CBA of 2017 entails? So those are things that really doctors should be asking themselves. And another question that they must ask is, in fact, written another question. I think they should advocate for a constitutional body. For me, I think you need to establish a constitutional body to handle your national healthcare force, so that you have an umbrella constitutionally constituted to handle your issues, like those constitutional commissions and independent offices, because these are very sensitive area that we should not be going on the street every time and again, because the government cannot obey the CBA agreement. So these are issues that doctors must rise to the occasion, and is not only the officials, because officials can be compromised. And even when people go into or enter into this kind of negotiations like CBA, have the KMPDU or any other body under attached to doctors have taken an audit from the ward level up to the national level, so that they understand, because this is a very complex sector. Probably somebody sits in Kenyatta may not understand the experience of a doctor in a remote area like in Kwale sub-county. So I think those are issues that maybe I'm not an expert, but I think doctors, they need a constitutional body in the first place to handle their national, or let us revert it back to the national, which I will greatly oppose. Allow devolved function to work completely. Allow doctors to be handled at the county level and devolve it completely, 100%. The billions at the halfway house should not be there for the cartels around, and it becomes a criminal exceed. Allow those money. Advocate for 100% transition from the national government to the counties, because we need you at the very local level. We need you there most. So that's the question or the matter that we doctors must advocate for. Wanyama, I think for me, that is
Okay.
what I would say for now. Thank you.
That's an important, I'll not say important, but everyone is entitled to their own opinion. The part that I like is we are still pushing the same constitution that we are asking everyone in the collective bargain of us as Kenyans. The collective ask is, there is a constitution that is in place. What accountability can we ask based on that constitution? I mean, it's a tough ask. I mean, do we really believe that healthcare is mature enough to be devolved? What was going well when it was a national? I mean, it was under the national government. What is going well when it is under the county government? Those are questions that probably will need to get experts in further sessions to come and answer. And irrespective of what happened between that devolvement, what was going wrong as well when it was under the national government, and what is going wrong currently under the um what is it called, county governments. If it's a devolved function and goes, I mean, is under the, I mean, county governments, why are doctors going to Ministry of Health? That means there's still some bit of a control that is there, still being managed, and most likely it's the money. And the money is the biggest issue, because we can't really do much without. We can ask our doctors to perform better, we can ask them to respect CEOs, we can ask CEOs to respect nurses, etc., the seniority issues, and etc. At the end of the day, they have families, they have people that depend on them. If that is not assured that there is a lifeline from such a good profession, by the way, because healthcare, I like one speaker said, And I always seeing this in most of the spaces. You Kenyans, as Kenyans, you're just one disease away from poverty. And if we don't take care of our technocrats, and that is not only for healthcare as much as this is a healthcare space, even the teachers, one day we will just reap on the continuous degradation of these technocrat spaces, not these Twitter spaces, but the spaces which they manage. Because, I mean, seriously, guys, someone who's invested to become a qualified teacher being paid 17,000 Kenya shillings. Really? Will the quality people really go for such profession? And what are we cumulatively doing to such spaces? That's the discussion we are pushing forward. And yes, contradicting opinions are accepted because the motive is for us to better what is happening. Today, the space was to ensure that everyone understands why the medics are going to Afya House. I mean, not Afya, MOH. And that is what we want to achieve. So, asante sana academia. Dr. Wanza. Wanza, can you hear me?
Hello, everyone.
Yeah, we can hear
So,
you. Go ahead.
okay. So, majorly the internship issue, it actually cuts across the unemployment with the Kenyan youth. As for the medical interns, there's always a perception that the interns they think they are more privileged than the other graduates. But what we must put across that must come clear is that when the other graduates from other courses, let's say like BCom, they graduate, they are immediately ready for direct entry to the job market. But with the medical interns, these interns have to pursue the internship, the 1 year internship, which is a temporary employment. So that means after that 1 year of internship, these interns will be out here to tarmac again. Okay, the current issue with the whereby the interns have not been posted for the last 1 year. Actually, most of these interns we are pushing to get posted, they actually graduated in around mid 2023. So it's really unfair to keep these young doctors jobless for one full year. We are now in July 2024. So these graduates have been jobless for that 1 year, and they can't seek other job opportunities because they are not registered professionals. Because what the reason they pursue this internship is to get registered and to get their professional licenses. So it's very unfair to be stuck out here for like 1 year. 1 year is a very long time, you get? And then the people who graduated from other courses at the same time with these young doctors, they have already sought for other job opportunities. And after the end of this internship, these young doctors will be out here tarmacking to look for jobs, just like every other Kenyan youth. So what I'm insisting is that on Monday we show up at Afya House. We rally up. Actually, all healthcare workers and all medical interns, from clinical officer interns, nurse interns, all of them. We should all show up and call for immediate posting of these graduates, because right now there are other medical graduates who are graduating this year, and they also expect to be posted for this mandatory internship. So when the cohort that was supposed to be posted in January are not yet posted, there is that backlog that is being created. And then we can't say really that it is an issue with the funds allocation, or funds are not there to post medical interns. The finance bill for 2024-2025 has just been shot down, and the president did say that the money for essential services like posting of medical interns and the JSS interns will be retained. So there is money, and these interns ought to be posted in July, and we must insist that all of them are posted, not just batches. And then I'd also like to echo the issue with unemployment of doctors, as Dr. Miskela had Dalia said, we have like 4,300 doctors right now in the public service sector, serving over 50 million Kenyans. The 4,300 figure, that is just the same number of doctors that we had back in 2018. So the county government doesn't really hire doctors. That is why you'll go to the public hospital, you have to make a very long queue waiting there and thinking that the doctor has gone to practice in their own clinic or something like that. That is not the case. We don't have doctors in the public service sector. Yeah, that is all.
Thanks a lot, and thanks for keeping time. You asked a very good question, and I think Maskela is listening. Maskela, I like also to have a session with KPMD. We ask the question: will we be doing this every year? And I think that's what I've gotten from Wanza. Will we be asking people to go to I mean, the streets every year? So that's something we also need to ask ourselves and look for a solution that is a solution that has longevity. Cindy, asante sana Wanza. Cindy,
Thank you, Wanyama. I
Cindy,
hope I hope I'm
Cindy.
audible.
Yes, you are. Go ahead.
So I'll first start by saying I work in the public sector as a civil servant in the Ministry of Health. I'm a public health officer by profession. I've worked for about 12 years. I started when we were still in the national government before we were devolved. So I've tasted a little bit of both governments. So I wanted to just highlight that as Kenyans, we need to be angry enough because our health system is extremely rotten. I don't know, maybe most of us in the middle class, we are so used to going to the private hospitals such that we are not aware how bad it is. So for me as a public health officer, I work at level 1, level 2, level 3, and level 4. Level 1 being the community, level 2 and 3 are the dispensaries and the health centers, and level 4 are the sub-county hospitals. So what I can tell you for sure, we do not have medical doctors, even at the level 4 facilities. As of now, where I'm currently stationed, we do not have a single medical doctor. In fact, our medical superintendent and the MOH are clinical officers. The ones who do ward rounds are also clinical officers. We don't even have interns. And if you come to our health centers and dispensaries, we only have nurses. I think the county government has mostly prioritized employing the nurses. So when you look at some of the facilities that I cover, we have lots of maternal and neonatal deaths. And you know, most of them are very avoidable because, like, I remember the most recent one we had, the mother died from breech. And even if you ask Miss Keller, a mother should not die just because the child breached. You see, for us, we would want our mothers to get skilled delivery. But now if you come to our hospitals, you find that even the most basic of medical supplies and commodities are not available. You find that even the specialists who can be in charge of gynecology, we don't even have a single one. If you look at the whole of the county, we don't even have 5 gynecologists, which is quite a problem. But now my greatest issue with our health system is that the government has politicized it in a way that they want to believe that the public, the Kenyans, are supposed to be getting first-hand kind of treatment just from the community health promoters. I've not had any speaker speak on this, but I want you to understand that, well, when the issue of community health strategy was introduced, it must have had goodwill. I would say it had goodwill because the roles of the community health promoters was purely referrals. We were trying to avoid issues of unskilled delivery, whereby our mothers are giving birth at home, on the road, or maybe in these private clinics that are in the shops, the ones that Daktari mentioned. However, I feel that we might be going back to that because our government now, the funding has been redirected purely on the community health promoters. You find that the CHVs are heavily funded, even from organizations like AMREF. So you find that any medical issues that we have at level 1, everybody who is coming up with an intervention, they are all centered around the community health promoters. For me, I feel like, well, it is true they do help us to some extent. I feel like this is an attempt to show the world that we do not need as many medical doctors, clinical officers in our health field, which is quite unfair because now we have CHVs doing things like treatment, they're doing testing, and we are even scared that some of them have started offering some delivery services, which to us are unskilled. And because I've managed CHVs for over 10 years, I can tell you for sure that most of them are actually, let me say, semi-illiterate. Some of them are not even cannot even write. But now the government expects that because we have donor organizations that come and train something on maybe maternal child health, or maybe something on family planning, they want to now make it look like these CHVs totally understand the issues that surround the maternal child health. Well, maybe what I would like to say that as a healthcare worker, we are about probably 17 cadres, if I'm not wrong. I think the government has managed to divide us in such a way that you'll find that kila mtu anajitetea. Madaktari wanajitetea, clinical officers wanajitetea, PHOs wanajitetea, like that, which has made it very difficult for us to come together collectively. Well, it is true that most of us have not achieved the same level of training. Of course, the medical doctor is supposed to be paid the most because of the level of training, but you'll find that because the government is looking at, if I'm going to pay one medical doctor 300,000, and this 300,000 can support about how many CHVs in a month? If they are being paid 2,000 per month, that one is about 150 CHVs, if I'm not wrong. So what does the government do? The government decides to channel that money to the community health promoters. And it's unfortunate that this program of community health strategy has been politicized to the point that even the CHVs are used by the politicians for campaigns. Even that if a politician wants to win an election, maybe it's an MCA, maybe it's an MP, they first start by paying CHVs to go around to try and campaign for them. I remember in the 2022 elections, we had issues with that so bad, but there is no way you could just say that, I'm dropping this CHV for trying to bring politics into work, because at the end of the day, the county government and the national government has made these people extremely powerful. You cannot just say I'm dropping a CHV because they have politicized health. No, it is very difficult because now they are more powerful like you. If you go to any public forum where the governor is addressing the community, you'll find that even if you are a medical officer with the highest possible qualification, you are not going to be recognized. It is the CHP who is going to be recognized, which is quite unfair. So I want to understand how many Kenyans in this country are actually receiving any kind of treatment from the community health promoter. Because I do supervise them, yes, but I would say that other than referrals, there is nothing much these people do. Unaona? So anyway, that was that on the community health promoter. So another thing that I wanted to touch on is the funding of the county government. I'm currently stationed at Kakamega County. So you'll find that level 2 and 3, which are the dispensaries, health centers, and then level 4, the sub-county hospital, they rarely receive funding from the county government. Like some of the facilities that I manage, you find that in 10 months, they have only received funding once. So how do you expect these healthcare workers working in that hospital to pay for things like electricity, water? And that's why when you come to a public hospital, you find that there is no water. You find that there is a blackout, and we do have vaccines. How are we going to store vaccines if you're not able to pay for your electricity? So these are some of the issues that are ailing, I believe, all the county governments, because these chief officers who are political appointees, when they come in, I believe their contract is around 3 years. What they do is to squander all the money of health. They go, a new one comes in, and the cycle continues. We find that all the impress that is intended for health activities is eaten, all of it. They even carry money in bags. This was an issue that even came up in a public forum that the governor was addressing us, but he was not able to respond to that question. Some of our drivers see the chief officers carry money from the office, but now when you want to pay for electricity, you don't have money. When you want to pay for water, you don't have money. Even their own offices where they sit, maji huwa inakatwa, they still don't pay, because now it's like we devolve corruption. Even the smallest person in the health system wants to eat money. So maybe to touch on the CBAs, I'm going to encourage doctor, kindly fight for your CBA. And this is why I'm going to say so. If you look at the local government of Kenya, I think somebody mentioned it, the healthcare workers who are under the local government actually earn twice what somebody who is in the health sector but not in the local government earns. And this is because of what? This is because of their tight CBA that they went into in the government, I think when we were still in the national government, if I'm not wrong. So the local government employees, whether you are in the health sector, whether you are a sweeper, you are a cleaner, whether you are a driver, all those people earn much more than what the healthcare workers who are in the normal health system earn. Why do you think that's the reason? It is the CBA. So I would encourage the doctors to fight for the CBA. I know the public health officers. I'm also part of a union leader in the public health union. I know we are also trying to fight for a CBA. However, I feel like as healthcare workers, we still need to come together at the end of the day to make sure that the government is not trying to divide us along our qualifications. Even if somebody just did a certificate only and we have specialists, how do we come together with a common goal? So if you're going to occupy MOH, kindly let's address the plight of all healthcare workers, even the morticians, because I can assure you, we do not have medical doctors, yes, but those ones who are even in service, they are suffering so much. And then we also have the issue of UHC staff. Maybe I will finish on that. The issue of UHC staff. These people have been in contract for, I believe, 4 or 5 years. How can you be employed in a government contract for 5 years? I believe even if you look at the labor laws, that should not be okay. How are we going to help these people? This UHC staff. Okay, I will end there. Thank you.
Asante Cindy, and I want to. The reason why I'm not accepting new speakers is because I want to wind up the space. It was supposed to take 1 hour, but look at us. I always lie to myself that this thing will be timely. Now, dakika tatu, and this is strictly 3333. Maskel, I'll finish with you. Do not worry. We are going to have future spaces on healthcare. We are going industry and industry as we are going to ask for accountability as well. This hill of governance we shall climb, and I hope we will have the energy for us too. I'm going to start with Dan Precious, then Mobali, then Barusi, and then Eriko as we finish. Dan, dakika tatu strictly. After 3 minutes, we will definitely mute. Go ahead, Dan. Dan Precious, can you hear me?
Hello,
Dr.
I'm
Junior,
getting
please.
you.
Okay, go ahead. 3 minutes strictly.
Okay, I want to address 3 issues. One, I think since I was a student, I've been seeing medical interns every year in, out. They really have to go to the streets to actually force for, being deployed as medical interns and nurse interns and whatnot. So I honestly think that is a time to reflect and see what measures can we put. We honestly need to end this, and we are not going to do this for the sake of us. I want us to avoid being selfish. Our brothers who are also going to qualify, are we going to leave them also to suffer the same fate? That's number one. Number two, I honestly think like the president probably doesn't understand how this thing is working out, because the way he's handling this issue of medical interns, it seems like he thinks it's a favor or something, yet it's part of the curriculum. We're supposed to go for internship before we get licensed. So I don't know why the president is handling the issue the way he's handling it. Number three, I think it's a time to actually and think about how we're going to make this place better for us all. Because in as much as the president is talking about, exporting, medical interns or healthcare workers to work outside the country, I think it's very few people who can manage to go to the country. Most of us are going to remain here. What will happen to those of us who are here? So we must actually make things work out for the better of us. That's my take.
We agree with you, and for sure it needs to work out. Asante sana Dan. Mobali. Man, guys, you have very interesting names. Dev Orinda, you're next.
Thank you very much, guys. Thank you for the space. Mobali is Congolese. It means a man. So I'm a man doctor. So don't mind that.
Sawa, 3
Okay.
minutes.
Thank you. I'll keep my submission very brief. And first of all, I want to thank you for this space. And I also want to laud all medics who stood with the Gen Zs during the protests. So direct to my points. What I would like to address today is that as medics, we need to have oneness, because you'll find out that I'll talk, for instance, in the case of for the last 3 months, or the strikes that we had. Uh, those who came to the strike first was the union of KMPDU. Then the CEOs followed. Then the lab techs followed. So after some time, or rather after the up and downs and the communications and the negotiations, you'll find out that the KMPDU was sorted in that Davji, who is the Secretary General for KMPDU, was called rather, or maybe they agreed on the return to work formula. But you'll find out that the CEOs are still in the strike. The lab techs are still on their strike. So this means that we don't have oneness as medics, and it's a high time that we call for oneness, be it KNUN, be it CEOs, be it KMPDU, be it the Pharmacy and Poisons Board, be it the lab techs, all the cadres, we need to stay as one.